For the second weekend in a row, the Velocity Online Racing IR-18 series remains in one state in particular. That state being Wisconsin, and even though it's no longer the Milwaukee Mile, this is Road America, and for yet again an opportunity the road courses, the twists and turns of Elkhart Lake will come alive. You're watching the Road America Grand Prix. As it stands, just under 7 minutes remain on timing and scoring. Qualifying is in full swing, and as it stands, it looks like it's going to be no driver with a complete lap yet. Multiple drivers getting onto the circuit, but nobody has gotten one time down. Over 15 drivers on the track, and they're looking to get their fast times in, watching live on FTN. I'm David Kreutz, commentating alongside Gary Godstone tonight, and with the road course action returning here on this Saturday, Road America is a historic circuit and one of the most favored for all drivers and, of course, viewers alike. I think this race is going to go over quite well with everyone who is involved. Now, dynamic weather, we just got it working. That's the reason for the delay. iRacing having some troubles and a lot of constant weather sessions being put up, which is going to be very difficult for all drivers, given the fact this is a road course, and if the conditions don't change, compound swaps, which are mandatory in the strategy, they won't play over that well. It looks like Bruno Miranda at the top of the board amid his fierce title fight. And Gary, as we get going, how does it feel to be back here, this time, road course racing in Wisconsin?
Everyone loves this place. This is really our closest track to a European style of Spa or something along that lines. 4 miles. You got, from the Moraine Sweep to Hurry Downs to the Carousel, the Canada Corner to the uphill main straight there. Long straights, sweeping corners, slow corners, fast corners, blind corners, you name it, it's here. Indycar has raced here as a staple pretty much through its entire history of modern history. From 82 to 2007, there was at least one race here a year. And unfortunately, because of the split and all that, it took another 10 years for IndyCar to come back, and they started making a regular stop here since 2016 as an IndyCar schedule. And it's really, truly one of the more highly attended races. And you'll see that also in the sim. The drivers love this track. IndyCar drivers have this track well memorized. That's why we're going to see times so close together at the top of the top of the chart. I mean, there's O'Sullivan with the 142.2, Miranda with the 142.2, Tucker with the 142.2. That should tell you that these guys have this track down like the back of their hand. It's a fun track. I wouldn't say this was place built for IndyCars, but IndyCars have let's say they like this as a home. That's for sure. We're going to talk a lot about history here. We're going to talk a lot about incidents here. We're going to talk a lot about parts of this track. It's going to be a fun broadcast, but they're long laps here, 4-mile laps here.
You know, for 4 miles, they're doing it really, really quickly. You mentioned we're in the low 143s right now. Now, that's a few seconds off both types of open wheel records. Either we're looking at the IRL, the card, as you mentioned. So it's a few seconds off, but they're still rapid in these IR-18s. Liam O'Sullivan's the man at the top of the board. Take a look at him right now, and you'll see working himself nicely in the alternates. A few drivers going to take the primaries. Maybe not. I think everyone's on the reds right now as we look at our timing here. Everyone looking to choose to start with the red compound, so they'll have to swap eventually over to the primaries, although it doesn't look like anyone going to take that chance at the moment. Looking at Julian Altena right now, running in 12th. 12 drivers have taken the time in qualifying to this point. They're separate by about 2.5 seconds. Going back to Julian, although I think Julian's got more pace in it. Definitely needs another good race because Bruno Miranda all the while looking very good in the championship fight as it stands, and that's something that's going to continue to come into play more and more, especially since we have Indianapolis right up next, a string of big races, and if you break out before Indy, it's going to help you for the rest of the season.
Yeah, as mentioned, the two different types of track records here. Kart ran here, of course, and then IndyCar ran here. Kart, Dario Franchitti, 3-time Indianapolis 500 winner. He has the kart track record, and probably the not the over. I think the overall track record is held by a L&P type car, but the kart track record here is a 1:39.8. So we're a little off that. We're a little bit closer in the neighborhood of the IndyCar track record set by Helio Castroneves, 4-time Indy 500 winner in 2017. When they were driving those funky DW12s with all the extra manufacturer Aeroket wings on them, with all sorts of downforce, he had a lap of 141.9. And I believe that is the IndyCar track record. So we're about a second. Actually, we are second off that. The career wins leaders here over IndyCar history, almost a Mount Rushmore of names are the career wins leaders here. Mario, Emerson, Michael. I really don't need to say last names, but if you need to know them, it's Mario Andretti, Michael Andretti, and Emerson Fittipaldi. And then it's almost a virtual who's who of names who are each tied with 2 wins for second. Paul Tracy, Jacques Villeneuve, Bruno Giancara. That might be the least known name of the group. Scott Dixon, Joseph Newgarden, and defending NTT IndyCar champion Alex Palou. Each have 2 wins here. Here's a little fast fact for you. The inaugural Road America race here in CART 1982 was the last IndyCar race of any kind not to be shown on TV at all. That was won by Hector Ribacki, his one and only IndyCar win. It happened, but we never saw it on TV. There was only a highlight package I think we saw on ESPN, but that was it.
40 years since the last time open wheel racing wasn't properly on TV. How about that? And the name Hector Ribacki, he was in Formula One, I believe.
Yes.
2 years prior, he had the 79s, which were put into privateer competition, if we're looking back to F1 at least. It goes to show, here at Road America, drivers from all throughout racing disciplines. We were talking about AJ Allmendinger, who's been very versatile over his career, racing here previously and collecting a checkered flag. It's a track that everyone wants to be successful at. If you have an opportunity to race here, you want to win, and I think everyone in this field knows that as well. The gap from pole to second is 98 thousandths, and Julian, from the final driver to take a time, is up to the top with 35 seconds left. So the pole position provisionally in the hands of Julian Altena, and that number 11 right now has it with a 142.839. Driver slowly but surely bleeding into the middle of the 142s.
Actually, my notes are a little dated. I was looking in the time charts, and the track record was reset last year. I should update my notes. Colton Herta, he has the actual track record. He did a lap of 144 miles an hour. Now, I got to give you the time on that one, so I got to do the conversion math here. So distance, 4 miles, and we're going to solve for time. I'll get it back to you here in just a minute.
Well, run the numbers as qualifying is just about over. Julian is up in front. However, that still could change. Bruno Miranda looks to be on a heater here for the final time. And if there's any opportunity for another driver to take it to the top, this is where it comes through. Bruno Miranda, Alaric Van Bosch, and Gary Lovern look to be the 3 drivers on a serious run right now. The 78 machine, the last of which, trying to get into the toe here. No push to pass. You can't use them in qualifying sessions. Nope. Every driver has 10 instances in the race, though. Right now, it's all about that natural draft.
Yeah, and that's the curse and the benefit of open qualifying. The curse is you're going to have traffic in front of you, but if that traffic's fast, the benefit is you get to ride in the draft. So sometimes you actually send a teammate out in front of you, and he'll punch a hole in the air, and you'll be able to benefit from that. And then at the end of the straights, you'll swap or come in the pits, change a new set of tires, and go at it again. But everyone's setting times here. It's still 1:20 left to play. Julian to the top, as you mentioned, a 1:42.8.
And Miranda got close, but not enough. That was a 1:42.906, which would have been good for second on its own. And that it was 66 thousandths of a second off for the quickest time. So it looks like Julian, the only driver left on the track, and it looks like the pole position falls in the hands of the number 11. The gap to second, though, it's a 66 thousandth difference. So small, it only came down to maybe a turn or two where these guys had any difference at all.
Yeah, and we're going to be getting gridded up here real soon. So wondering how we're going to have the long lap or the short lap. The long lap, that'll be interesting. That's going to definitely impact fuel mileage, if you can believe it or not. The short lap, they'll line up here just before Canada corner, which we'll talk about as well. And then they'll do the kind of a half a lap, though. But they'll be milking it because fuel mileage, even though the series is at 85% in terms of fuel capacity, you really can't get much more than 13 laps or so out of a tank. We'll see how the reduced tank is. At a full tank, we're talking about 14, 15 laps, something like that. But it's really tough to pull off an extra fuel strategy here, especially now you could do it in real IndyCar racing where you have full course yellows, but we're not going to have that here. It's only on local yellows. We're not going to have a full course yellow, and we are going to do the full lap.
So one full lap before we get going, looking at the Sargento Cheese Bridge and a few static shots before everyone gets on the track. 38 laps of racing tonight, and we have a starting grid already formed up. 18 drivers are set to take to the field for the Road America Grand Prix, Race 8 of the season. Julian Altona going to be at the top of the board with a 142.839, quickest time over Bruno Miranda, who was only 66 thousandths back. The difference so close, but it's going to be just under a tenth for Miranda to start in second. Joshua Tucker going to be third with a 143.076. Then it's going to be Liam O'Sullivan in the fourth spot, and Sebastian Kinder just a tenth away, starting in fifth. Jesper Ormond's going to be sixth, and Mark Murphy's going to be then seventh, with Cedric Holmboom 8th, Jordan Hale 9th, and to round out the top 10, Alaric Vandenbosch with a 144.00, and then a 4 at the end there. First driver inside the 144 territory, is then in 11th. You see there's the rest of the field.
At Kernell 11th, Donskoy coming deep from the field in 12th. Christensen 13th, Enge 14th, Diggs 15th, Lovern 16th. Pedro Bibel going to come in deep. We know he's a road racer. He'll be coming deep in the field 17th. And Mikado, also a road racer, I believe. He'll be coming 18th. So it's about an average kind of IndyCar size field here. I think when the NTT IndyCar Series comes here for real, they'll have more in the neighborhood of 25, 26 cars. But this is a nice size field, certainly. They will probably at some point experience a little bit of lap traffic, depending on everyone's individual lap times. But so this right here, though, the full lap, they're going to be milking it for all it's worth, because this is a lap. This is basically a caution lap, and this will impact fuel mileage on this first stop. So this first stop will come quicker now because of the pace lap. So we will see how you're going to see them. A lot of them going to fall back, leave a lot of space in between each other. They're going to be clutching and coasting an awful lot, and they probably won't start getting in position until getting to 13, 14, somewhere in there, or even coming up the hill, coming to the green flag. So this whole parade here is going to impact fuel mileage, and this is one of the few times you're ever going to see that.
We're watching on boards right now. Most drivers seem to be in fifth or sixth gear, and they are indeed clutching and coasting. Everyone's under about 5,000 revs a minute just to save everything they have left. 4-mile lap, and that's under pacing for a 38-lap race. So this is a huge deal because it's about the most fuel they'll be using without really putting that much energy in. You don't want to waste anything you have, and as such, it's going to be a very, very slow ride for all of these drivers. I'm sure they want to get it out of the way.
This is going to be at least a 3-minute lap here before we get to the start-finish line. So we do have a track record here. And it is Colton Herta, and Colton Herta lap speed set last year in this IR-18, 1 minute 40 .08454. So 140.8454 is his lap time. So 144.223 was his lap speed, and so you do the math. It's a minute 40.08454 seconds.
I don't think we'll be reaching those speeds necessarily today. It's still going to be very quick.
Not in the race.
Yeah,
not in the race. Not in a fixed setup race. You're not going to see, if this was open setup where you could dial out a lot more drag and the setup was more individual. In a fixed series race, it's more of the setup for everybody in the group can be comfortable. Everyone in the league can be comfortable. An open setup race is more like real IndyCar racing. It's everybody for himself type thing. And that's where you would see these lap times and qual times and race times more indicative of what they are in real life.
I'll tell you one thing, though. When it comes to the track conditions, it's quite warm here when it comes to the circuit. I mean, 101 degrees Fahrenheit on the track, 75-degree air temp, but it's going to be the pavement that absorbs so much warmth. Yeah. It's going to be very challenging for these drivers. A majority
Two places.
They do choose to start on the primaries, though. A few drivers going to choose the alternate. It's going to be Bruno Miranda, Jesper Orman, Mark Murphy, and John Christensen is going to be a primary driver. But right ahead of him, Yaroslav Donskoy is on the Reds. It looks like Orman's actually going to be starting from pit road as well, so he might have missed a start.
Not a bad strategy. It's not a bad strategy because he's not wasting fuel right now. And if you go to his camera on pit road, chances are his engine's not even on. I don't think so. Let me go.
And
now it is. I would have had mine off, but his engine is not is on. But he's kind of hoping for Calamity to collect at turns 1 and 3, which it does in real IndyCar racing and virtual IndyCar racing. So this first lap, 1, 3, and 5 are the kind of the danger zones. Where the hot track is really, and we're getting ready to go green, where the hot track is really going to be a problem is in the carousel and in the kink, because there's not a lot of room to slide there.
A pace car on the way, one driver going to be starting from pit road, but the final incline set to be made by Julian Altena and company. The green flag's in the air, and the Road America Grand Prix is underway. Already Miranda on the push to pass, trying to make something happen into turn 1.
Yeah, and that's going to impact fuel mileage, but he wants to make it happen now. Through 1 cleanly. Looks like everybody through 1. Now we're coming to 2. Bruno to the inside. Now Bruno on push to pass again. Julian on push to pass, but Bruno's pushed the button twice already this lap. Now this is the Moraine sweep. This is actually going to count as a turn right there. There's turn 4. Now we're coming to 5. Braking zone. Crowding a little bit through there. Good runoff area. Now coming up the hill in the 6. This is not a good place to pass, Bruno, because it's a blind left-hander. And we'll show you in some in-cars later in the race. Coming downhill, here is 7. Then down, hurry downs, coming downhill. Here's 8. It's another passing zone right here. And now we're into the carousel, which counts as 9 and 10, but it's one continuous corner. See Bruno taking a peek to the inside. He's going to have to sticky your tire, so he can probably take the shorter radius if he wants to. Now they're going to probably be on the button again. This is full on 100% throttle through the kink. That's right there. Get those rumble strips, and it's 100% throttle down the straight here, coming to Canada corner. And in the Canada corner, braking zone, slight passing zone there, right-hander. Back up the hill. There's some safety roads here. You can actually clip that and use that as part of the racetrack right there. Up the hill. Now we're into the final turn, 14. Up the hill, heavy on the acceleration. Julian, a little bit of the weaving. Push to pass Miranda for the 3rd time this lap. Ends on the outside, so he's going to take the long way around. Julian's not going to let him have it. They'd go deep. Still side by side on corner exit.
And big contact there. Miranda going to be in the grass, and there comes Joshua Tucker. It's going to be a 3-driver battle here, as it looks like Miranda giving it his all, gets some contact, and is going to fade back. That first lap was such an aggressive battle between the both of them. Miranda's already put down the push to pass 3 times. He might go for a 4th here, but it looks like he'll settle and drop back 1 spot and lunge deep to get it right back.
He's just going to send it into 5. That's what he does.
So he's not going to take any of it and get right back into 2nd. The gap is now just under a full 2nd between he and Julian. Julian trying to defend and crowd the track all throughout. Gets away after a lap, but it's high energy for every driver up in front, and I don't think Miranda is done in the slightest here.
So Jesper started on pit road, and he did what he wanted to do. He capitalized on some calamity that happened a little bit further back. Jonathan Diggs, I believe, is on pit road for an extended stop. But Jesper already up to 13th.
And we're looking at Orman's on board right now, trying to chase down Pedro Bibel, Jordan Kernow, and Jordan Hale right ahead. Already going to be slowly but surely rising through the back half of the field. And I think right now that advantage and knowing he can go all out on this run going to help him to maybe cycle up to a higher spot by the end of the fuel cycle. Now, Orman, we've seen him quick all throughout the season. However, the road courses, he's trying to come alive here and make that alternate strategy his biggest advantage. He just got right by Bibel.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be neck and neck again. Bibel almost went off the track. One
car on
driver
the inside. Car on the inside tries to do a bit of a reckless rejoin there. Hold it, let everyone pass and get on the pit road. Yeah, there we go. Get on pit road, get yourself repaired, get back in this race.
And that was Cedric Holmbohm in the number 10. So we're going to take an instant replay and find out what caused it there. Looks like Cedric going to go around, perhaps on his own. 30 seconds back, we're going to find out what caused it here. Yeah, here's the replay.
Take a look here. Yeah, take a look here. Probably just comes right on around under acceleration. That's yeah. And so what happening there? I'll watch hit my in-car of him. Maybe clipped the dirt off the rumble strip, which will also do that. But under heavy acceleration, cold tires, early laps, probably on engine map 1, that's like instant acceleration. So a lot of these drivers are going to flip between the regular fuel maps, but also in the play for road course races are map 6 and 7. Which are on a gradual curve in terms of how fast you accelerate. It's still full rich in terms of how much fuel you use. It's a slower response time when you put the throttle down, and that helps on these type of road courses.
It looks like slowly but surely pulling away. Julian's got a half-second lead, and for Bruno Miranda has not used the push to pass since. However, now Julian down to 8 uses. A battle on the back end of the field. You're seeing side by side. This is going to be Pedro Bibel on Jordan Kernow. Pedro down to the inside there. Going to keep right on the outside. Kernow does through Canada the corner and through again. It looks like Pedro's going to take the spot. Jesper Orman is up into 10th. Is now looking on Jordan Hale. So Jesper Orman already the biggest mover of the night and making more spots up as he goes up the final incline. He's going to have a huge opportunity here if he chooses to use the push to pass. He might, but he's also got a driver ahead of him in Hugo Gallus, who's going to do it for him. It looks like, or rather Gallus not in the session. Similar paint scheme. Jordan Hale chasing Yaroslav Donskoy as Donskoy tries to look down on Vandenbosch. Looking at the battle progress here with Yaroslav Donskoy. Now you can see Jordan Hale getting up there with the toe. It looks like they're going to be neck and neck in, and just an incline with the advantage to Donskoy. Didn't even have to send it deep, but Jesper Orman did. And now Jesper going to be right there with Donskoy. Maybe going to help push him through wheel to wheel with Jordan Hale. Hale gives up one spot. Donskoy might be the next here. That's how quick Yaroslav is being crawled up on as Orman now puts himself within a car length away of the number 91. Wow, what a wiggle.
That little jerk of the wheel cost him, and Donskoy was up 4 spots, and he just gave it all back there. I don't know, maybe he had a moment with the wheel or something, but he's now back under power. So move Orman up to 8th. He's just kind of, I thought he would follow Bibel through, really. But Bibel is behind him. Doesn't kind of want to wait for Bibel. So the push to the pass button on Miranda, that's going to impact when he pits. He might have to pit a lap earlier than everyone else. We'll see.
And he has been the heaviest user of it so far tonight. 7 uses, tied up with only
Jesper 7 uses.
Yeah, both of them. Now Jesper goes down to 6, actually. He's going for another spot. That's going to be just ahead of him. The number 72 of Vandenbosch with the pressure. He's going to go down, and it looks like he's clearly got a shot at it here. 20 seconds if you don't let off the throttle, and Jesper's going to take advantage of every last second. He takes another position away. He's up to 7th, and he's been running hot so far.
And ahead of him is Mark Murphy. Mark admits he's not a road racer, but all IndyCar drivers know Road America pretty well. You're always going to see it on the official schedule. You're always going to see it on somebody's league schedule. If you're in an IndyCar league, everybody knows Road America pretty well. And even those that have a hard time turning right, myself included, we all have this track pretty well memorized. Well, it gets a little sideways going into 7 there. Top of the hill, 6. Now we're going through 7.
Now
down, hurry down to the 8.
Mark Murphy making his way through, but he's still quite far ahead of Jesper Orman, one driver who's getting the pressure. Julian Altena up in front. The gap between the leaders now less than 0.3 of a second. Miranda getting closer and making his way in with that aggressive use of push to pass. However, ever since the first lap, he's laid off it, and he's slowly but surely letting things come to pass naturally. Now it's going to be Julian with less than 1/10 of a second to spare as they go through. It's going to be Canada corner with 2 drivers barreling by, and it's going to be Miranda who's made his way up inch by inch. Right now, just behind him.
Amazing he's able to now keep up with those red tires being 5 laps old. I mean, after about 5 laps, the tires here are pretty spent in terms of the alternate tires. So 5-6 laps. I'm kind of surprised to see him still up there fighting with Julian. Julian on the prime tire, the harder tire, the longer lasting tire. Tucker watching from afar, very interested spectator.
Yeah, he's got the best seat in the house right now. Take a look on board with Joshua Tucker and see exactly what he's looking at. The battle right ahead, and if there is a problem, there's always a chance he'd be the driver who scoops up the spots immediately, right under the Sargento Cheese Bridge, and making through. And we'll see whether or not it's going to be a lunge here by Miranda. He might go for it. It doesn't look like he has the opportunity, no, so he chooses not to.
Look how blind this corner is here. Come up the hill to 6. Watch how blind it is. There it is. I mean, that's how quickly you have to react. Now, in the in-car, we're riding on the hoop above, so keep in mind the eyes of the driver are probably another 6, 7, 8 inches below what you're seeing here. So they got to see through that aero screen. Now we're into the carousel. Just try to feather the throttle through there to keep the car down to the bottom. Maybe click that rumble strip, clip the rumble strip there on the exit. Now we're coming to the kink. This is where Catherine Legg had a hell of a tumble back in the split years when the Champ Car World Series came here. That's on YouTube. Check that out. She survived, but it was a hell of a wreck down the Canada corner. Side of a very famous moment between Al Unser Jr. and Michael Andretti. And up the hill. See, they use that service road there to catch the right side wheels down the 14. Keep it off the dirt, but on the rumble. Up the hill. Now we're doing a bit of the weave. Long
to make
straight
those moves here. You mentioned the weave as they go back and forth, and he's trying to keep that draft at bay. I mean, they're both relatively close, but Julian, once again, maybe starting to split apart. Last time by, Julian was quicker by 1/10 of a second. Even with Bruno having that draft, just hasn't been enough so far.
Well, Tucker was not as fast as Bruno, but in the same bracket, same neighborhood. So I suspect as those tires go off on Bruno's car and they become more optimized on Josh's, that Josh then will start making a battle of this for second.
Very fair opportunity for him to do so here. 7 laps in out of 38, and looking to see whether or not drivers can stretch for a one-stop strategy. Right now, most drivers are getting more settled into their spots. Jesper Orman has stopped the tirade. He's up in a 7th, and he kept himself there. Of course, looks like now he's been there for about 5 laps. The 2 drivers who lead, though, have been the closest even still. Bruno Miranda really not going to make it easy here for Julian, as they're going to continue to stay within a half second of each other just about every section of the track. Only similar battles going to be very far back with Eric Mikado and John Christensen. It looks like Mikado is the slower of the 2. That's how Christensen is off.
Yeah, Christensen off at 8 into the kitty litter there. So now Mikado gets around. Now he's by himself in the carousel. That's one less vehicle he has to worry about. Move him up to 13th.
Dan Ench got by for 14th as well. So a 2 for 1 there for John Christensen in terms of losing.
Yeah, but he kept it. It's in the litter, and his tires are dirty, so he's scrubbing them off. He's probably scrubbing the wheel, working the wheel back and forth. Make sure he didn't break something. He does have a teammate there in front of him, an Ench. He'll probably regret giving up those spots. So we're not too far, believe it or not, from first pit stops.
Say we're about halfway in the cycle, if maybe a bit more than that now. You see Joshua Tucker once again. It's going to be a gap between first to third of only 0.8 of a second, and these 3 are bunching up slowly but surely, trying to make do what they have. Miranda with an opportunity to push it in. Looks like he won't choose to do so. Tucker getting a little more aggressive of all these drivers up in front.
Last lap, Tucker, sorry to cut you off, but Tucker faster than Miranda. By 0.3, 145.7 to a 145.4. In fact, Tucker's faster even than the leader.
Now by Bell looking to make a move. He just went down to the inside of Jesper Orman, took one away. That's the first time all race long Jesper has lost the position. And now by Bell is going to be on hot pursuit of Mark Murphy. Murphy's going to see the pressure for the first time of multiple drivers. And as such, we'll see how much longer the 69 can hold on. I'm not quite sure he's got a chance to stick around for more than a few laps here if someone like By Bell is really that much quicker. That time by
well, we know Pedro's a road racer. We know Pedro's a road racer. So, and we know what Mark's not. Mark's a competent racer, so he should be able to hold his position, and then if he has the race Pedro for it, to race him cleanly for it. But we know that Pedro, and there it is right there. There's the pass. We know Pedro is definitely the road racer of the two.
So as such, Murphy going to give away that spot pretty quickly. Bybel actually went in the grass there as they came right into Canada corner, but kept it all together. Now it looks like Orman going to wiggle down to the inside, looking to take it there from Mark Murphy at the line.
Oh, something happened to Julian.
Trouble with Julian to right, down to third.
Fellow third.
So it looks like we're going to take it 30 seconds back for a replay and find out exactly what caused it here. Julian was going through with a lead in the turn one.
Just got passed.
That's right. I mean, we're looking at it once again here from our overall drone camera, the wiggle, and it looks like, yep, Bruno got that run, pushed through, and Julian is going to let off. And as such, you see Joshua Tucker right there as well. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 loss for Julian.
I think where Julian put his car, he might have just wanted them to go by. Maybe Julian has a number he needs to hit, and racing Bruno wasn't going to allow him to hit that number. So now he's third, where he can definitely benefit from a draft. And there's 3 straights here you can draft. They're on one of them. They'll move forward here. Once they get out of the carousel, they're going to be on one straight here that they can draft a lot of off of. And then, of course, the main straight, and then the mooring sweep area between turns 3 and 5. You could get a lot of drafting done there. Maybe he's wanting to save. I thought maybe he had a moment coming off of 14 and got the car squirrely or something, but no, it looks like, in my mind, it looked like it was a prepared move.
But that being said, not going to cost him too much time, because it did look like he at least had control as he goes down and in.
So he's coming on lap 9, coming to 10.
So Julian.
So what he's going to go to the pit on lap 20. 30, and then he has an 8-lap run at the end that he could probably put on the red tires and fly with. That's my guess. So I suspect we'll see him on pit road here. I suspect we'll see him long pit road, painful pit road here. In real NASCAR racing, I believe it's a 2-step pit road. You go to 100 at one point, and then it goes down to the pit road speed of, I think it's 60 or so for a real IndyCar racing. Here, I think it's 45 miles per hour. It's painful. But yeah, there he is. And what does he go to? I can find him. He's on the Reds, so he's opting for the Reds now. So maybe he does a short stint now and does 2 long ones after this. I don't know. I thought he would have gone prime red and do that, but he's going to go prime red, at least on the second stop.
Bit of a change to the call there for Julian. Nobody else has decided to go in until now. Looks like John Christensen and Gary Lovern are going to go through. And Jonathan Diggs went in a few laps prior for some extended service. Nobody who's currently racing is 1 lap down. Donskoy and Holmbohm, the retirees. However, most drivers have remained on their initial pit stint of 10 laps so far. Bruno Morana going to give that race lead away to Joshua Tucker. Now it's going to be Tucker up in front as he heads through with the lead for the very first time.
And many times I've seen a lot of races at Road America, especially the more predictable nature of the Indycar, and there goes Tucker, where no one really wants to lead because they're trying to hit a number. And so I think we saw that with Julian, and now we see Tucker hitting. Now, I'm not sure if Tucker didn't want to lead. I'm sure he certainly would have liked to save precious drops of fuel. We'll see what he changes to when he gets to pit lane here, when he gets to his stall in pit lane. And also with him is Seb Kinder, and looks like we got Pedro back there as well.
So watching as these drivers go through, Tucker going to make his call right now. That's going to be one of the most important of which. So
okay.
Look closer. He gets out. It looks like on the primes.
Prime tires.
He comes out right there with Julian. You'll see it's going to be Julian just about a second behind.
Pedro and Seb in a drag race off pit road. Seb with the primes, Pedro with the alts, and not a good corner exit there for Seb. And Pedro sees an opportunity. He's going to send it to the inside. Seb doesn't give him a lot of room, but that's okay. He doesn't have to.
As such, Pedro Bell takes it. Yep, absolutely there. Down to the inside. He's going to defend low. That's exactly where a driver want to go, but trouble for Seb Kinder. Nearly collects Alec Vandenbosch.
Alec with the... I'd be curious to see his in-car from that one. I don't know how close that was, but Alec had the narrowest of all margins. It's a good thing we did not see netcode on that one.
And we look at the onboard of Kinder, just looks like getting it loose at the very last moment for Vandenbosch.
Cold tires under acceleration. Cold tires under acceleration. Also, I think he started on the rumble strips. Oh, I just watched Alec Vandenbosch's in-car.
So close. I mean, that's less than a foot, less than 6 inches.
Right.
By the slimmest of margins, he gets away exactly what he needed to keep on going.
Oof. Bruno on pit road now. So I'm assuming Bruno is going to switch to the prime tire. We'll see. It's a regular business here. Might have ran out of gas actually getting into the stall. Nope, it's going to stick to the alts.
And now Julian going to be making it by. Got through Josh Tucker.
Julian and Josh make it by him.
Now it's the old
Not what he wanted. Not what he wanted at all.
Right there. I mean, Bruno Miranda was the driver who was leading prior, besides the final lap where he went in, was leading ahead of Joshua Tucker. Julian's, it looks like, hits the mark proper to get the lead right back for now, but we'll see how much longer he holds on to it. Looks like he gave it away the first time around. Maybe there's a chance he does so again.
Provided he hit the number, the math works. Math is pretty predictable here.
Getting away by about 0.8 of a second, whereas Bruno Miranda maybe trying to pull right back in here on Josh Tucker. Tucker, the driver who runs in second. Bruno Miranda, who's going to be in third. Still close, but not enough to get by, at least for the time being, as they run right through this carousel section. Miranda is not yet on the push to pass. It looks like he has not used any push to pass since the first lap of this race.
Yep.
So despite that very early charge, it's been relatively conservative ever since, because most drivers at this point in the race, they've used about
he was going to pit first. I thought he was going to pit first by using that 3 pushes early. I thought he was going to be the first to pit, and he was the last to pit. So color me wrong.
Looks like it's all worked out for Miranda to stay on cycle, but really nothing more. We'll see if he gets aggressive and tries to use the push to pass here. We can ride on board with Miranda as he takes it right up the hill. No signal of him using a push to pass just yet.
Yep.
He's not going to be on the green box, so it looks like he might try to get that natural toe to work. He's down to the back end of the number 77, close enough to keep the distance very tight, but not enough to go for a move. So through turn 1, he'll stay right behind.
He might have had a shot if he used the button, but also Tucker's in Julian's draft as well. So he's getting aid of Julian. Tucker's giving aid to Miranda. Now he's on the button.
Working down already, trying to get that spot away. Looks like it's going to be pretty simple to hold the inside here. Rushing deep, lunges the furthest, and it's going to go very wide as a result.
Yes,
and
he does.
A very quick squirm there from Joshua Tucker. They're going to nearly be side by side, but Miranda still gets away with it. Oh, how much trouble that could have been in just a moment.
Now watch that pass again. He went high. I think he overshot that a little bit. And that's one of the things. That's one of the dangers of using push to pass on the straights here, is it speeds you up. So your timing is now going to be increased, and your timing might be off. And you drove a little deep in there, almost overdrove the corner. Actually, did overdrive the corner. Just kept it all on the racetrack. But that little overdrive cost him time. And he's not nearly close to
right
Julian.
Now, looking for a similar move on Liam O'Sullivan. You see all the way down, nearly to the grass, down to Canada corner once again. By Bell, still cannot find room. So a very close battle here, separate by just about 1/10 of a second. By Bell, he is looking for what will be 4th spot, but O'Sullivan has kept him honest, at least for the time being.
I expect Bell to, well, Sullivan goes to the inside defending, but Bell Well, he's on the button now, so he decided halfway up the straight, I'm going to smack the button. Bybel now on the button. So he smacks it late. Bybel up 12 spots, looking for that 13th spot. 2 road racing pros right here. This is what they're both known for.
And it's going to be a pretty fair fight to this point. I mean, Bybel had an opportunity, couldn't take it. Sullivan going to give the defense that makes everything work out for his case, but doesn't mean it's going to be all said and done right here. We'll see if Bybel is going to try to lunge it deep. He looks for it low and just has to come back up.
Something we haven't seen a lot of the drivers do in 5 is you can take that very wide, so you could kind of cut over almost a half a car width onto the rumble strips there. Don't go too far, you'll get an X going out of bounds, but I think you can go pretty far in those rumble strips. Bybel inside, contact, into the wall, Bybel, into the kitty. Oh, no, he keeps it out of the wall, but he's definitely into the kitty litter. So Bybel is now going to lose a couple positions. That was pretty, I don't want to say aggressive, but fortuitous thinking on his part to try to pull that pass off on the outside going into that corner. So Liam O'Sullivan is now going to be by himself for a while.
Up in front, though, separate by 1/10 of a second, Bruno Miranda looking on Julian Altena, and the shades of a similar battle with O'Sullivan and Bybel. Hopefully not the same outcome, as Miranda coming through for the final time. Maybe going to get back on the button here, push green, and now it's going to be all full speed as he comes back to the start-finish line. Miranda looking for the race lead, and he's going to use up the push to pass, not once, but twice in this past lap, and it looks like going to have the edge into turn 1, exactly what he was looking for.
Yeah, got the position, had the position, had the inside position, preferred line. Now he's got to push on those red tires. So he's only 3 laps into his current stint, so he's at the peak of the red tires. Whereas Julian's 5 laps into his current stint, he's probably at the south end of those red tires. So there's a difference of the red tires coming into play in terms of life of them. They don't last very long on Indy cars at Road America.
And so we might see them get stretched for perhaps 6-7 laps more, the absolute maximum. Julian gonna look, doesn't go for it, but gonna try to find an opportunity to immediately take that spot right back. The race lead once again gonna be in the hands of Bruno Miranda, but that time it didn't look like Julian gave it up. Instead, simply had nothing for Bruno, as he has not chosen to use a push to pass ever since the first stint. Miranda's gotten on it twice in this run so far. Julian, not so much, and as such, gonna stay right behind as they're going to head right toward Canada corner and go for it all over again. Julian going to be a bit more conservative for now, and also coming back in the mix is Joshua Tucker, who's running in third and maybe starting to pick up a bit more speed and close the distance.
He would be, because he has the harder prime tire, and so the prime tire, this is about the crossover point. Tucker 4 laps in his current stint, so not quite at the crossover point, but getting there, more in the 5 or 6 lap neighborhood. He'll be at the crossover point, and he'll start to be gaining on them. That time by 146.1 Miranda, 146.6 for Altena, but Tucker 145.4.
The difference is clear now. I mean, in a completely different second bracket, so that's going to be very important to keep an eye out for. Only half a second off of Tucker's best, and that's with age on the tire of now 5 complete laps. Julian going to stay right behind for Bruno Miranda. It's a gap of less than 0.4 of a second. No chance to look low, but definitely keeping the pressure on each and every time around. There's a similar battle brewing in the back of the field. It's going to be Sebastian Kinder and Jordan Kernow. Kernow that time by did not actually gain any time. It was Kinder the man who made a pass up, but now Kernow within the mix of Sebastian Kinder. Perhaps there's going to be a little more of a development as this run goes on. Nothing too crazy for the time being, though.
They're on the same strategy. They both pitted 5 laps ago, up lap 11. So we got a couple different strategies. Miranda pitted at 12. Liam O'Sullivan pitted at 12. Jesper Orman pitted at 12 among your leaders. So they went the farthest. Julian went the shortest. He went 10. But again, he might be running it backwards. He might be counting down the laps versus counting up the laps. Just like you would, and then you've covered a number of NASCAR races where they are on road courses, they count down backwards. and on road courses, and several drivers in the IndyCar ranks do as well. So maybe he's counting down backwards. But most everyone on that 11 lap stint. So Julian is actually coming up to a pit stop here if he goes to another 10-lap run in 3 laps. So quickly time is approaching for him. Bruno's not even halfway through his run yet. Joshua Tucker's just halfway through his run.
So pretty big differences in strategies, as you mentioned there. And the question is, how can Julian keep cycling through if there's such a radically different idea at play, going backwards through the stints? It's not impossible by any means when so many other drivers are doing it one way. If you're off sync at all, it's very hard to merge yourself right back into the mix, which is why just about the entirety of the field is on one course of action. Joshua Tucker right now looking to stay with Julian. The gap between the both of them less than half a second. The top 3 have really checked out. You have to look for your 4th place driver down to 4th. It's 10 seconds back. Liam O'Sullivan out in his own world with really nobody else competing with them. He got by, of course, by Bell. Yes, but Ormando, who's in 5th, might have a chance to go for another spot and get back up to Liam.
Well, this is the battle between an absolute road racer and Sullivan, and then we'll have a battle between a longtime IndyCar driver, Jesper. Jesper will tell you, and maybe he won't, but he had to learn the road courses the longest. He's really good on the ovals. It took him a while to learn the road courses, but practice makes perfect. And we're going to see a longtime driver of this IR-18 versus a career road racer. And we'll see how this battle burns out. Is it going to be experience over road knowledge or what? Or is it the other way around?
Now, with the way that Jesper Ormond's been, I think it's likely we're going to see him go for another pass. I mean, right now he's on the green, as a matter of fact. So look, as Jesper Ormond's got an opportunity, he'll slice down low and quickly go to take the spot into turn 1.
Yeah,
it looks like he was inevitable.
Yeah, good a pass on. He's only got 4 pushes of the button left, and we're just past halfway. So remember, it's not just push to pass, it's push to defend. He might need those pushes of the button later in the race. If he decides to go to another set of red tires, and when they're being worn out, he might need that button to help defend. So we'll see. But he is making, starting to put some distance between himself and O'Sullivan.
As it stands, it's going to be the number 2 machine, Jesper Ormond, the man we're watching, who started in pit road and has made it up now to 4th. The biggest run of the day so far, I'd say, has to go to Jesper Ormond, even though he's not up here in the top 3 battle. Looking further back to Jordan Kerr now. He's getting closer and closer on Sebastian Kinder, and one driver, it looks to be Christensen, with trouble in the wall. Might be a damaged suspension the way he's looking at it.
Yeah, it looks like he might have grabbed a little dirt on corner exit and shoots into the inside wall and then punches out for the toe. So, long day, getting longer for John. I've been there. Trust me, buddy, I've been there.
And we're looking back what happened here with John Christensen, as it looks like into 1. Did not clip the grass, but still went wide, and that was definitely the grass. And as such, ended up in the wall, front end damage there, and parks it, pulls it into the infield, and it's even a little more damage from there. So the yellow flag, of course, not going to fly. Full course yellows, but for Christensen, that might be the red flag for his race. A lot of damage, and it coming through right by pit road. Joshua Tucker down to the inside on Julian, looking for 2nd.
So kind of happened. This happened to the first stint. Julian went back to 3rd.
And very similar, as you mentioned, to what this all started as, so I'm not quite sure if it's intentional this time through, but Julian eventually sits in 3rd and then goes down to pit road. Maybe still going to be the first of all drivers to make their way in. It could be Julian making it happen very early on into this stint as opposed to everyone around. So we'll see whether or not Julian's going to choose to do so. As it stands, looks to be the driver running in 3rd at about the halfway marker, letting Joshua Tucker get the opportunity, diving down low. And when you go low with that push to pass, there's really nothing you can do. Tucker's going to take 2nd almost by default there. And as such, Julian might have to come in sometime soon and try to
Julian!
stretch.
I think Julian just had a moment at turn 8, got wide. So I think his tires are pretty well spent.
The only advantage is
watch.
Julian has not used push to passes as much as the drivers ahead.
Yeah.
Tucker's used it 4 times. Bruno's used it 6. So if anything, Julian can get very aggressive in the second half of this race and use up that extra push to pass, that extra horsepower, and really make lives hell for the drivers ahead. Tucker and Miranda, even though right now they're away, might not have the opportunity as long as they'd like, because Julian does have that in his back pocket, though. Gotta make sure that from here on out, the tires are not entirely gone, maybe having to come down pit road. The choice is not to.
I think his tires are done, especially after that little under braking. Now that was under braking, but the back end broke loose, so maybe he could adjust that with the brake bias. But I thought for sure after losing time on a lap might be a good time to pit. He's on his 10th lap, so he's going deeper this run than he did on his first run. So if we'll see if he makes it only a lap, or maybe goes possibly deeper than that.
Opportunity for Julian to keep on going. Gonna take it this time by. Battle getting closer by Bell. It's going to be with Alaric Vandenbosch, and it looks like it's going to be Alaric making up some more time here and now. Going to be a gap of just about 0.3 of a second between the two of them, and they're going to be heading down what would be labeled as the DRS zone, but this is not F1. It's the push to pass here, but I don't think anyone's on it just yet. Both drivers going to be using the natural power and going to be coming closer and closer to Canada corner here.
This is a battle of, sorry to cut you off, but this is a battle of acceleration between a set of spent red tires and a set of prime tires that it's in the crossover window. That's what it was.
Tire wars are coming into play. Looks like Bell going to get out, and I don't think it's going to be truly the end of it, but a big advantage right now for Pedro Bell to hold on to. So as it stands, Pedro going to be good to go. Try to keep that spot, at least for the time being. Vandenbosch is not going to be too far away, so as they come up for one more run at the incline, maybe there's an opportunity to get on the push to pass and keep the position. We'll see whether or not it's even worth fighting for, though, because slowly but surely, it looks like Vandenbosch is gaining right back in. Gary Lovern went down to pit road, but Vandenbosch goes down low, but that's going to be a swap corner, so the Canada corner doesn't play in his favor and ends up right to the top as they go through. Bell defending every which way, but Vandenbosch still there as Julian heads down to pit road.
Pit road, that's what I thought. Yep.
Another driver in, and Julian going to make the expected call. And both the drivers we're watching go as well.
So he goes at lap 10 again, lap 20. I think he's going to cross the start-finish line, so he should get credit for another lap, but I think he comes in at pit at lap 20. So sticking to the strategy. Does he stay with the Reds or go to a different set? And nope, I think I'm seeing Reds still. And Reds on exit. So sticking with the Reds.
On the way, Julian going to get going, so one more stop in mind because of that compound swap being mandatory, so watch out for that. Julian on the move, going to have to put down the best lap possible here, as you see. Alaric Vandenbosch, Pedro Bell, Mark Murphy, Sebastian Kinder, Jordan Kernow, all in together. So it's going to be a big run on a pit road, and we're waiting for both Tucker and Miranda, who are really going to set the stage for the rest of this leading battle here with 18 laps to go. What can these drivers do, those who have stayed out, to put themselves back in a good position and maybe come out with an advantage here over Julian, who just made it in?
I'm going through Canada corner. And back uphill. 13A, then the 14. Let's see if they keep right and go to pit road. Yep, both of them. Same lap.
Going to be a very quick move in there.
Yeah, don't speed.
And Vandenbosch has trouble at the same time. Number 72 goes around, and it looks like it's trouble on the racetrack once more as pit road gets busy. Vandenbosch going to get involved with an incident.
Yeah, that's at, I believe, let me go back and look here. I think that's right at the top of the hill at 6, where it's blind.
Looking back, it looks like the entry to that blind corner are going to take Vandenbosch perhaps by surprise. Comes in, and yep, looks like maybe clip the grass. That's a possibility, but just gets loose and goes around with that acceleration. I think the tires might be done for.
That turn is so hard. That is the hardest. I have the hardest time with that turn on this track. Of all the turns, that one right there. So Jesper goes to the lead.
How about that for Jesper Orman? Even though not necessarily the leader on all strategy, having it up in front from the back of the field, starting on pit road, impressive in itself. And I gotta say, for Orman, not going to be a bad race to look back upon, given the performance to this point. Should be a shoe-in for a top 5 finish, maybe going to finish in 4th. It's the battle between he and O'Sullivan, which is now the battle for the tentative lead that you're looking at right now. However, both drivers going to have to take that hard right turn in, and they're coming up closer on it. So I think we're going to see Jesper Orman and Liam O'Sullivan
this time by, probably.
Both make it in. Yep, this time by.
Yeah. Down through Canada corner, keeping it clear of the key litter down there. That's Canada corner is last year where we saw Will Power and Scott Dixon kind of come together in an odd collision meeting of the minds. And there's the turn to pit road. So up as fast as you can up that road there, and then you get to really to where the that walkway is, that bridge, and there's where the cones are, and then you got to really slow her down, get on the button. And then this really long pit road to your spot. So in the process, Miranda's going to come right by him here in just a minute.
Gotta be dreadful for these drivers, but it's going to be Bruno Miranda who will cycle out in front and clearly ahead now of Joshua Tucker. I mean, this is becoming more and more week after week the Bruno Miranda show. I mean, already up there at the top of the points and putting up great race after great race. This is another chance for Bruno to keep it up there and go for another win. I mean, how about that? 23 laps in. You still got a ways to go, but Bruno going to cut out a good enough advantage to maybe hold on for this stint and beyond.
3 seconds back to Tucker. So the Brazilian Storm, Bruno Miranda. Orman came out.
Everyone else in this race.
Yeah, and O'Sullivan is trying to track him down. It was on the button.
Looking at Liam O'Sullivan here, about a second away from Jesper Orman. Orman going to get out of pit road just about with the same gap as he had before. O'Sullivan's been the man chasing for the better half of this race, I'd say so, to this point. It was the Orman's hard charge from the back up. I mean, he has been the biggest gainer, moving up lap after lap, generally speaking. I don't think he's lost a spot overall on the race. When he got to 4th, he's been sitting there since. The leaders got away, but yes, Orman has stayed very, very quick all throughout. His fastest lap is a 1:45.345, which is the same, or rather the same bracket as Miranda, only 35 thousandths of a second slower than his overall quick. Orman has been no slouch today, and I honestly think for him, it might have been best to avoid the carnage early and settle perhaps for a top 5 finish. Still a very notable run for him to have tonight.
Yeah, he's as the experience goes that are in among the leaders, and Bruno's been around a while and driving these cars. Julian's been around a while driving these cars. Jesper's been around a while. Tucker's been around a while, not as long as those three. But the experience is all at the top right now.
And a good reason to have that O'Sullivan, a driver who came in for the very first time this season, and we've seen him at the ovals quick, building a name for himself on the road courses as well when it comes to VOR competition. As it stands, it looks like another battle brewing, though. Mark Murphy going to get right through, but Alaric Vandenbosch takes the spot right back into 1, and Vandenbosch trying to make up some positions after a kerfuffle we saw previously. Still going to be in the top 10, running in 7th, whereas Mark Murphy slots back into 8th.
Yeah, Murph's goal is just to get the car to the finish and collect the best finish he can. This would be my strategy racing. It's just someone's going to pass me, go right ahead. I'm racing the racetrack for the most part. And I think that's what he's doing. Just get the car to the finish, collect your points, move on to a track we know you're good at, Indianapolis.
That's a pretty fair strategy given everything here in this circuit. I mean, it's not at all challenging to have a big mishap end or really alter your day significantly. So for Mark Murphy, you don't want to have that happen. You may as well race a bit more with caution on the mind, and it'll keep you up there much longer in regards to your longevity. So with 15 laps to go, why push the issue? Just let the racing continue to come to you and keep going from there. Not at all a bad idea here for Mark Murphy, as with 14 laps to go at the line, Bruno Miranda still has a 3-second lead. And it looks like Julian trying to gain here on Joshua Tucker. The gap is now down to just about 9/10 of a second exactly. Julian was 2/10 faster that time by lap over lap compared to Joshua Tucker.
Come on, chat. It says Fireball will broadcast anything. Well, you don't like IndyCar there, buddy? You're missing out. You're missing out. This is the finest form of North American motorsports that you're going to find. And yes, I am saying it's better than NASCAR. Now, you won't say that because you go to a lot of NASCAR broadcasts, but I'm not here for the IndyCar races. This is the finest form of North American motorsports right here, IndyCar racing.
I'll tell you this much, they're all fun. How about we all just get along? I'll say that much. You know, there's a lot to come from all of motorsport. I'll say
give it a shot. Get in here, watch the race, learn the strategy. You might find yourself being a fan after all. We got a lot of Formula One converts have become IndyCar fans. Mainly because they're tired of watching Verstappen win all the time, but there's a lot of converts back to IndyCar racing because it's the truest form of every form. You're on street courses, road courses, short ovals, super speedways, intermediate tracks. I mean, you have that to a degree in NASCAR now, but not before. There was a reason that there was a long time it was just pretty much you'd have those 2 road course races every year and everything was on the oval. Now the NASCAR schedule is becoming more variety, a lot more variety. IndyCar has always been like that. So the true form of a driver is if you could win on everything, and that's what we see with IndyCar racing.
The only thing they can't go to anymore is, of course, dirt. I mean, these cars cannot handle that. But you go back to the lineage of USAC and such, that still exists in its own form. But when it comes to diversity, I'd say you're right when it comes to IndyCar there, and that's a huge deal, which is a wide track like I think Road America works out so well. And I would think that Road America should be a circuit we see much more so than a lot of the new things in Formula One. But I'll digress and appreciate what we have here tonight. I mean, Julian right now trying to make a bit more time. 5 push-to-passes remain for Julian, whereas there's 4 for Tucker and Miranda, respectively. A little more time for Julian, maybe to make up if push comes to shove. And I think Julian is lap over lap quicker than Joshua Tucker. It's not a crazy difference, but it is enough right now for that gap to slowly but surely dissipate. And it's going to be maybe something to watch out for. With 13 laps to go, 0.8 of a second isn't all too that much.
It was like a 7.4 to a 7.42, 7.4 to a 4.2, I think it was. Last 5 laps, Miranda 1:45.649, Tucker slightly faster 1:45.636, and Julian slower really over the last 5 laps, but maybe he's coming into it now. A 1:46.103 last 5 laps, but it looks like he's kind of coming into it now.
And we're watching, it looks like, especially through the speedier section, getting right through Canada corner. The gap is just under 0.7 of a second. And we'll see as we, of course, are going to head back through the final incline past turn 14. And maybe Julian going to turn the power on, get it to the green button, and coming up here, the choice is going to be
pull the draft. Yeah,
stay in the draft, and that's going to be all that's necessary. At the line for Tucker, 6:40. It's a 3:91 for Julian Altina, so the quickest of the top 3 by far. And it looks like the second quickest on the track right now. Yes, but Ormond faster than all 3 up top.
So on road courses, they have a different wing configuration. See these big front wings, big rear wings. They punch a huge hole in the air. So he's using the natural draft there to kind of bring himself closer, try to save the pushes of the buttons later. But you're right. Joshua's on the button right now. But 4 for Miranda, 5 for Tucker, just used 1, 7 for Julian, 3 for Jesper, 5 for O'Sullivan. So once they're done, you're done. You can't use them anymore. But they're like rollover minutes. They don't go to the next race. You gotta use them now. Smoke them if you got them. So I expect in the later laps of this race, if he can, and he's in contention and he has the fuel. That's the key thing. The fuel to pull it off. He'd smack that button. Take a wide line through the carousel. Cuts down, kind of diamonds that corner off. So continues to cut into that lead of that Tucker has over him.
Watching now on board with Julian, you'll see exactly the moves we made past Cat in the corner. It looks like Tucker looking a little more slippery through and through every spot on the circuit, but nothing too crazy right now to really pick holes at, though Julian is quicker. Now the gap is going to be just under 7/10 yet again. It looks like not going to be getting on the green, letting the draft do all the work, and a lot of the work for getting this pass done is repeated lap after lap as they come across the stripe into turn 1. Sixth gear, over 11,000 revs a minute, and the gap is nearly under 5/10 when they go through. So Julian trying to pick apart at Joshua before making any crazy changes to strategy. We expect one more pit stop for everyone, and then we get back going again for the final run of the night.
I have seen on some of these straights before, if you get a really super draft and you're on the button, you can smack the limiter sometimes in these things. So that'll slow you down a little bit. So you see Tucker, see Julian going half a car width or more over the rumble strips. That's how a lot of drivers have decided to widen out 5 a little bit. And more than the car over than that, I think, is a penalty or an X incident point.
But Julian's got to try everything right now and definitely making gains, a little more of an aggressive idea in how to perform lap after lap. And you can see he's starting to use every bit of the curb, taking it from edge to edge and using that strategy to make the most of what's left in this 11, especially in the dying laps here with only 11 to go. You cannot hesitate, and for Joshua Tucker, got to wonder how he'll defend his Kinder's side by side with Jordan Kerr now. Down to the inside, coming over in the blind, turn 6. Kinder is going to take the spot, but only just, and now going to get away from it here as Jordan Kerr now remains just behind.
So Kinder kind of redeems himself and at the top of the hill there. That's where he kind of lost it before on a passing attempt. Keeps it under him. And Kerr now fought up into the top 10, so there's a battle for the bottom portion of the top 10. Any top 10 finish in IndyCar racing is a good day. Especially on these road courses where you just, in some cases, just want to drive to survive, just like the title of the iRacing, or excuse me, the F1 series on Netflix.
Well, Kinder gets away. I think Kerr now having a little bit of more trouble.
And Vanden Bosch. We have a one-wing angel out there. He is missing his right front plane. Right front plane he is missing right now. So that's his, he hopefully knows it's gone. That is going to impact him going through these corners. He's going to stay out. Maybe. Okay, nope, he's pitting. I thought maybe. Kerr now is going to pit. Maybe he would go to his window, but he's like, get it taken care of now. That isn't necessarily a meatball. He might have the meatball. I don't know for sure, but
best to get it all sorted out right now at the very least. Kerr now and Vanden Bosch going to come in, and that begins our final pit cycle of the night. 10 laps to go. Bruno Miranda out in front on his lonesome. It's still going to be Julian and Joshua Tucker. I actually think Julian going to lose some time that time through. So still going to be neck and neck, and they've gone back and forth between who's gaining and who's not. Julian, once again, going to drop back just a bit more. It's going to help out Joshua Tucker's case substantially here as he lies in second alone with really minimal prospect of getting any higher. Watching Julian on board once again, going to be still looking as he comes up the hill this time by. Is the call to go down a pit road? That it is not. And with 10 laps to go, coming down to 9, maybe going to expect to see Julian come through next time by and perhaps split this stint. It's going to be Liam O'Sullivan coming out in the 5th spot, still chasing Jesper Orman here at the line. Orman's still going to be the driver ahead of O'Sullivan directly, and Liam just can't find his way through, as with a second to spare between the both of them, it's been Liam O'Sullivan usually at the wayside of Jesper Orman and not vice versa all throughout this race. He's kept it close, but hasn't been enough to really make a pass. Turning now with 9 laps remaining. Pit strategy coming up very, very soon for all drivers involved. Next up, it's going to be, of course, the 8 lap to go marker, and pit cycle is getting busy. You see Jordan Kerr now right now in that number 11 spot. The 35 is holding on nicely, but for the time being, really nobody else to drive against. The final driver on the lead lap, and Alaric Vanden Bosch is now going to be 1 down. Gary Lovern is 2 laps down. Dan Ench rounds out the top 10, and looking further back, you also are going to see drivers past Liam O'Sullivan. Sixth is going to be Pedro Bell, Mark Murphy, who he's had a solid night. He's still in seventh, but Ench is going to come down to pit road, and another driver is going to go through. Some still have to make that compound swap. Julian has remained on the reds all race long and has to come through, I think, to put on the primes this time by. We got to keep that in mind for the drivers who have not gone down and changed compound. This is the final opportunity, or there will be a penalty. So Julian, coming across this time by, will make down to pit road at the exit of turn 14. And just like that, it's Altena going down and in from third on the order. Now we'll see whether or not Julian's going to get a quick cycle out, try to hold on any longer to fight for second another day. Coming through, misses the first tire barrier, of course. You do not want to make contact there, and we'll see. We should expect the Firestone Reds on your screen to be quickly replaced, and it'll be the Firestone Primes to go for the rest of the distance here. Julian down and in, making it into that pole position pit stall. This is the compound change we've been waiting for. The reds are going to remain for now, and up on the jacks, Julian's going to be, looks like, still going to stay with those reds here and get back on the move. So once again, Julian sticks with the alts, and as such, going to be cycling out in fifth. There's Joshua Tucker, Jesper Orman, Liam O'Sullivan, and then from there, Bruno Miranda, still your leader, and coming across turn 14 next time by, maybe we'll see Bruno, the driver who goes in for a pit stop. Now, 9 laps on this stint for Bruno. It's been a very successful stint, that is, and en route to once again extend the points lead with another fantastic performance here. The number 78 has been indomitable throughout this season and looks to continue growing and growing that points advantage as Liam O'Sullivan now gains in more on Jesper Orman. The gap between the both of them is 0.6 of a second, 31 laps in. Maybe an opportunity now. O'Sullivan looks to not be on the green with 3 push-to-passes to go. Can't really afford to go there. And now, down through Canada corner, O'Sullivan continuing to make very slight gains. The difference still clear, but perhaps there's going to be a chance to make it up. Now, Bruno Miranda going to go down and in to turn 14. Miranda is in. Same goes with Joshua Tucker. Yes, Orman opts to stay out, and so does Liam O'Sullivan. We'll have different race leaders as we come across the line. It's going to be Orman up in front. O'Sullivan is going to be still in second as Miranda and Tucker go in together. That's going to be the final pit stop for both drivers, of course, pending any extra trouble, and as such, they're going to make their way in for their final pit stops of the night.
And we're back from a power failure.
Well, at least good to hear you're back there. If we come back to the tail stage of this race, we knew there was a little bit of trouble. It's, of course, 7 laps to go, and these are long laps, so luckily you didn't miss all of them. Coming through, Sullivan in second, Bruno Miranda then in third, and Joshua Tucker going to be the fourth man. As it stands, Orman is the leader, given the fact that of the drivers that have gone in, Kinder, Kurnow, Ench, Lovern, Altena, Tucker, and Bell. Julian's going to get right by Joshua Tucker, and the fight for second is on. They'll be neck and neck going up 6, down to the inside. Joshua Tucker going to take it.
Pass.
And how about that? Going right to the edge of the curbs, Joshua Tucker makes by through 6, gets the nice exit through 7, and takes the runner-up spot once again. Julian looked for it and just couldn't seal the deal.
That's a tough place to pass going into 6.
All is well for Joshua Tucker to remain advantageous in the fight, but Julian is closer than ever before. Now maybe an opportunity to take it someplace further on the circuit. Now it's going to be down through what would be the DRS zone, coming closer and closer to Canada corner right up next.
Ooh,
multiple drivers go in,
wow.
and Altena for a switch over.
Yeah, he's giving Josh something to look at in both mirrors.
While Julian looking for an opportunity even more, Jesper Orman, Liam O'Sullivan follow each other through, first and second respectively, and there's pit road for the final time. I think they're the last drivers to go in on this race. Bruno Miranda cycles out to lead, and he's got it now by 3.5 seconds over Tucker and Julian Altena. They're still going to fight each other for the spot here, but All comes down to this tail stretch with 6 laps remaining. We'll see if anyone's got something left for Joshua Tucker in second, or if Bruno Miranda is going to end up losing time. However unlikely, he's got the lead, but it still could be relinquished.
It'd take a mistake right now for Miranda, I think, for him to give up the lead. I think the best battle that we keep watching here on the racetrack is right here between Julian and Tucker for the second step here on the podium. I think Julian is a little bit faster, but Tucker's doing a heck of a job at keeping Julian at bay. Julian is doing some intimidating tactics, showing up in both mirrors, getting on him on every straight. You saw Tucker took the inside route down the main straight there, the defensive line. So he's worked his way into Tucker's helmet a little bit. Tucker's like, well, I'm going to protect the inside. So we were going to see this continue to peck away at Tucker and see if he maybe, trick him into a mistake or something. Or this is the way the race ends. I think there's a lot of battling still to go on between P2 and P3.
Tucker's held on nicely, but I don't think it's over by any means here. 6 to go. So many turns, so many even still laps. These are not quick ones by any means. So for Julian, I would not give hope. Coming through this time by, going to be the uphill ascent past turn 14. And Julian's going to be still about 0.8 of a second off. Maybe there's a chance to pull through. Everyone right now going to be on reds with the exception of Alaric Vandenbosch. And it's going to be Red City throughout the field. No major battles right now, save for Julian. And it looks like the rest of the field is going to be very separate as they go through the final laps. 5 laps to go. Bruno Miranda more than anything wants to seal the deal. Only 2 drivers really actively fighting each other, and the rest are looking to come home in one piece, as you mentioned earlier. Going to be a bit of a night of attrition. 11 drivers on the lead lap, and 18 that started. There are now only 13 left still racing.
Yeah, all my other overlay data is done, so I believe everyone is good to go to the end. I don't think we're going to see any fuel strategy at play here. I think the biggest strategy call has been Jesper starting from the pits. I believe it, and him able to go deeper in the runs because he was able to save fuel by sitting there in the pits, not moving, while everyone else was under power. I think, Lovern staying very high there in the, I'm not sure where we're looking right now. I can't even see your feed for the moment, but Orman, I believe, with the biggest play, the biggest strategy was starting from the pits, I think. That's hard to believe, but there's really been no other strategy that's bore out as well as his other than that right now.
Yeah, I'd have to say so. Orma making the biggest gains, and as it stands, he keeps himself there. It's been a nice and calm procedure for Jesper Orman and holding his own, running in fourth. Julian Altena going to be third as it stands, still about a second back, so nothing crazy when it comes to these 2 drivers. They've remained just about level. Tucker slightly quicker, though, and as it stands, just not going to work out. 4 laps to go.
Tucker's got 1 button push after this, but he's on the button now, trying to put some more distance between himself and Julian. Maybe cut in the Bruno. I don't think that they're going to cut a lot in the Bruno. Bruno's 3 seconds down the road clear. The only thing I could think that Bruno would possibly cut, he has the 52, which is inch at the end of the straight ahead of him. Maybe he gets in the traffic with him, but I would suspect Inch probably moves over. You never know. Inch is a teammate to Julian, and we've played teammate rules on this track before where drag the brake a little bit, don't go as hard into the acceleration point, and then make the driver behind kind of check up team orders. Might not like the rules, but that's how you play the game sometimes, and we will never know how that team orders might pan out, but that is a possibility with Inch a part of Team VOR, and Team VOR currently in P3.
It's 3 seconds, though, that gap down to Joshua Tucker, let alone Julian, who's an extra second back. I don't know if any team games are really worth playing with 4 laps to go. I'm not saying it's impossible for it to happen, but, Bruno, as it stands, has that race lead. He's there comfortably. I think at this point, he's got another chance to check out and take that win once again. Not to say they should make it easy on him. Well, they definitely shouldn't. He's been one hell of a driver. They should still, of course, give it their all.
That's if he should catch Inch.
Yeah,
I don't,
still 10
not
seconds.
sure if he will. Inch wants to stay on the lead lap. So the 78 just came off of 14. Inch is passing the start-finish line right now. So if he should catch Inch, maybe team games are played. I don't know. If I was Inch, if I was given a team order, I'd try my best to follow it. But also, I very much want to finish on a lead lap here. That's kind of a victory for me. I'm not a big oval racer, so finishing on a lead lap here on a road race would be huge for me. But maybe team orders are abound. We don't know. But that's part of the game. People don't like that part of the game in IndyCar racing. But team orders specifically are frowned upon, but team orders are teammates will help teammates. That's just don't hate the player, hate the game. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, now someone who's making up time is Joshua Tucker. Gap is less than 3 seconds. However, as you mentioned, there's no push to pass, so this has been all a natural gain. Tucker might just be quicker right now. That time by, he was only 45 thousandths of a second quicker, so maybe that's not really indicative of the gap. Although Miranda's been slow on this lap. Relative to his average pace, he's about 0.3 of a second slower, whereas Joshua Tucker's hitting his marks just about on average, so he's running at about the exact same rate he would previously. I think it might have been a little bit of a mishap that we didn't quite catch here from Miranda. Something small, because it is only a 0.3 of a second deficit, but still, Miranda giving up a bit of time to Joshua Tucker, but he'll have to give him a whole lot more if there's any chance to catch up to him.
And, the man that doesn't see a lot of road course action, doesn't really like the road courses, but races them anyways. Jesper Orman, fastest lap, purple. I'm not sure how long it's been there, but a 1:43.9. So, again, experience pays.
Now the experience coming to a close very soon. 3 laps to go. This time by, it's going to be a
Julian on the button this time.
Dash. And it's going to be Julian, who's right now a second and a half off. And for Julian, it looks like currently going to be on the green with 3 push-to-passes remaining. Nobody in the field has more than 6 left. It's Sebastian Kinder with 6 remaining. And your top 3, Bruno has 2. Joshua Tucker has none. And Altena now has 3 complete push-to-passes still yet to be used.
If we get through these next 2 laps, everybody in the point race is going to have a good day. Miranda's going to have a good day because he'll beat everybody. That's if he be given the win. Tucker, he's among the points leaders. He's going to have himself a good day finally. He's been fighting for podiums, and the fact that he lands on here, won finally, that's good for him. That's a good feeling. Julian, yet another podium for him. If he pulls this one off, that'll be good for him. Jesper, we hasn't seen him in a couple weeks. He's back for the first time in a race here. A good restart to his campaign. O'Sullivan, he's been up in the points all season long. Good top 5 for him. So the guys that need a good day to happen are really having those good days occur right now. Now, I'm sure Julian could wish for a better day, but a P3 right now is pretty darn good. Now he's trying to run down Tucker's on the button. Miranda's on the button too. Miranda's got 1 push left. Julian 2. Coming to the white flag this time by, I think, for Bruno.
And that would be 37 on to 38 for Bruno Miranda, making it through turn 14 this time by. It's the final lap for Miranda as he'll take it up clearly ahead, 3 second flat, so he's gaining once again there. White flag is out. This race is official no matter what. No cautions, full course here in Road America, but now he's just about sealed the deal, and the Roar Esports machine is set to take it to victory lane. If he holds on for 4 more miles, it looks like he's on pace to do just that.
Just hit your marks. You get that feeling when you see the white flag. It's just like, okay, I'm there. No, you're not. You got to get this next lap in the books. Hit your marks, nice and calm. He's not being pressed.
And listening as he takes it up 6 there. Looks like
he's
Julian's actually making a big time right now for the fight for second.
Is.
And
he's well behind Inch, and Inch isn't going to be it probably isn't going to play a role here. There's Inch going into the carousel in front of Bruno. Julian, Tucker, very close right now.
Bruno Miranda going to make it by that carousel with 9/10 of a second to separate Julian and Tucker. As it stands, though, Julian still
Final
not
press.
enough to make a real charge. Maybe a chance to use the faster pair. They're both, or rather, push to pass. No faster pairs, but no push to passes left for Julian or for Bruno Miranda. They're both using their last right now, and Julian giving it all that there's left into Canada corner. It's going to be half a second, but still not enough. Bruno Miranda has been on a tear as of recent, and it looks like his dominating stretch will continue. Coming out of turn 14, this time by the checkered flag will wave for Bruno Miranda once again, and your points leader extends his overall championship lead at the line this time by Tucker. Takes second, and Julian Altena, despite the last surge, will come home in third. Podium decided, checkered flag is out, and Miranda keeps up the fantastic performance.
Yeah, good day for the Storm. Good day for his friends, families, and fans that are in chat. We know that they follow him, but good win for Miranda. I think he was really the fastest car all day. At times that he kind of bided his time and let Julian lead a couple early laps, couple mid-stint laps, and then when he felt like it was necessary for him to go, he just went. Good strategy, good all-around finish, and a good way to wrap up the first half of the season. And now everybody's eyes go toward Indianapolis.
Miranda puts on a smoke show coming right by turn 5 and putting it into burnout mode right in front of the fans. Miranda celebrating once again, and he's been on one hell of a tear coming into Indianapolis. It's all the momentum in the world, and he'd love to, of course, win at the site of the greatest spectacle in racing. Not a bad way to run right toward Indy, though, with all the performances he's put up. See now, Miranda going to be just about stalled. He's not even in our frame here as multiple drivers come to check up on him. It's all said and done. He burns it down, and it looks like his celebration has concluded. Empty track here, Road America no longer buzzing with the sounds of open-wheel racing, and it's Bruno Miranda who will come home celebrating a victory. He leads it by 3.5 seconds over Joshua Tucker, and then from there, you're going to then see Julian Altena in third, Jesper Werman in fourth, and Liam O'Sullivan fifth, with Pedro Bybel sixth, Mark Murphy seventh, Sebastian Kinder eighth, and Jordan Kernow then in ninth. Eric Mikado rounds out the top 10, stays in lead lap, just barely.
Yeah, I really don't have any more of my overlays to finish up the rest of the top 10, so sorry. It is the power failure here really screwed things. Good thing I wasn't the one streaming today. That was coming from you. That would have been very catastrophic for me streaming, but if you want to read the rest, you can, but I don't have them with me.
Well, take a look right now. You should have a good look.
I don't even have a stream up right now, so... I'm that crippled right now, yeah.
Well, with that being said, it will be Ench 11th, then Gary Lovern 12th, Alaric Vandenbosch 13th, it'll be 14th Jordan Hale, and from 15th spot is Jonathan Diggs, as it's John Christensen, Yaroslav Donskoy, and Cedric Holmbohm, who conclude the field of 18 tonight. Let's get the thoughts from the top 3, as it looks like they all gave it absolutely everything they had from start to finish. The first of which in the podium to talk to tonight is going to be Julian in that number 11. So let's get a word from the driver who finishes in third tonight and bring Julian right over. Gary, you're standing by with Julian Altena.
Yeah, we got Julian here in the booth. Another podium there, buddy. Not where you necessarily wanted to be, but tell us about your race. Looks like you were doing a little bit of an earlier pit strategy than everyone else.
Yeah, I tried to get the edge by going a lap earlier to get my track position back there, because I went to map 8 by accident. That's why Bruno and Josh blew by me there on the main straight, so that was a bit dumb.
Okay.
But yeah, it happens. So yeah, but my battle with Bruno was good. I want to apologize. He was saying that I needed to race clean, and I kind of went off on him because it was in the heat of the moment. So apologies to Bruno for kind of going off on him there. But I looked at the replay, and I think we both raced really aggressively there in turn 1. But ultimately what really led to the heavy contact, which I think upset Bruno, is a bit of netcode contact, which kind of swerved me to the left, which happens. Like, no hard feelings there. I thought it was a lovely battle. So that was good. Just want to say sorry to Bruno there for kind of getting upset with him there. Nothing he did wrong there, just a racing deal. But going back to my race overall, I made that mistake with the fuel knob, and then later in the race also I had the genius idea of saving fuel to kind of get myself back on their strategy, which cost me a lot of time because I ended up making a mistake. I was clutching the car into turn 8, and then I released the clutch too late and locked the race.
Oh, and the back end came around. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep.
So that really cost me the race. I think I could have won, to be honest. But it was still a good race. Just it was nice to race these guys. It was a nice close race for a change, which I think for road courses with Bruno is something to be quite happy about. I know I can match his pace if I string races together, and even with some mistakes today, I was only able to finish, 4 seconds away from him. So I take that as a good result. And also congrats to Josh on P2. It doesn't happen often these days that he finishes ahead of me. Friendly dig there to him. But it was nice to battle him also towards the end. So I want to congratulate him once again on that second position. I think he drove a good race. I think it was a nice, good race for him for a change, because he always spins and crashes out. So.
All right. Shout out to anybody else you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks to Jim Herrick from 40 Raceware for sponsoring the league. I want to thank everybody who showed up today. Congrats again to Bruno. Thank you guys for broadcasting, and Gary for joining the future projects of the league. Hi to my girlfriend. Hope to see her again tomorrow. Not tomorrow, on Monday. I keep thinking it's Sunday for some reason, because Formula 1 was today. But yeah, hope to see her again on Monday. I love you. And again, as I always say in my other interviews, not necessarily here, but if you're interested in joining the league, feel free to join the Discord. Sign-ups are open there always. You can join if you're from any skill level, as long as you're a clean, respectful driver. We'll welcome you with open arms. So please do join the Discord if you're interested. And that's it. Again, thanks everybody for showing up, and see you all in. Give me 1 second, Gary. I need to look at my own schedule.
Indianapolis.
In 3 weeks for Indianapolis. Going to be an exciting race. Going to be doing a 3-wide start, by the way. Hope that all goes well.
Ooh,
but
wow.
But yeah, see you guys all in 3 weeks.
All right. Julian Altena, P3. A little bit of a break before they move on to Indy. Shall we bring down Josh?
I'd say so. Let's get your second place finisher with us, who only finished half a second ahead of Julian. That's the difference for the runner-up. Gary, we got Joshua Tucker standing right by.
Hey, Josh, put it all together. No bad luck. No one taking you out. No innocent bystander. Nothing this time. And you piece it together. You got yourself a solid podium, P2. Congratulations. Tell us all about your race.
Thanks, man. It's rare for me for everything to go right, for sure. I'm definitely not the most consistent one on the grid, right? But no, I was more comfortable in the blacks. I honestly thought the reds would have a little bit more pace fall off, but still wasn't comfortable making that decision, after watching Julian and Bruno. So yeah, I thought I was going to have a chance, but I ran out of fuel in one of the pit stops and lost time to that. I think that's where Bruno got me for the 3 seconds, and it was about impossible to make it up from him. He's so fast, and it's really amazing to get a race from him. All the battles we've ever had in VOR, it's super clean, and we're each other's benchmark. So I'm just as happy for him to win as I am to take P2.
Next up is Indianapolis. I know I had you on the the Elite Racing Network ERL League at Pocono this week, and didn't quite make it 500 miles there, unfortunately. But again, one of that bad luck that seems to engulf you, never of your own doing. Now we're going to Indianapolis, 3 wide starts. You're kind of in this, not necessarily in the points championship, but you're in points contention, pretty high up in the standings. How are we feeling about Indianapolis going forward now, where the likelihood of being caught up again in someone else's, being an innocent bystander, someone else's incident is always high for some reason?
Man, again, that's one of those races I've never finished it. It's always been some kind of bad luck. I've always qualified in the top 5. I've set the pole one of these years against Seb and Will Lyon, which is good. They're aliens in their own right, and so I'm feeling good about it. It's just one of those things, like you said. Yeah, hopefully I can get up to the front and kind of stay there, and it goes the way it did today.
Well, congratulations. Shout outs. Anybody want to say hi to while we got you here?
Yeah, definitely you guys for doing this. I know you guys spend a lot of time doing this. I know, Gary, you're almost like broadcasting 4 or 5 nights a week. So
I know it's nuts.
yeah, it's really glad to have you guys back in the community and have IndyCar back. And shout out to Ryder Engineering, and shout out to Seb Alexander and Jesper Orman, for kind of mentoring me the past months. So appreciate the hell out of those guys.
All right. Well, congratulations on the P2. Well earned. About time. Good to see you here. Hope to see you down here some more. We'll see you here in a couple weeks in Indianapolis.
All right. Thanks, man.
All you, Dave.
That being said, Joshua Tucker on the way, and what a performance it was for him to jump up there and fight with Julian. But again, no match for Bruno Miranda, and that's been the case for the past, I'd say, 5 races here. Miranda still on a tear, and another win, this time at Road America. What was it like tonight?
Hello, Dave. Hello, Gary. Thank you. This race very, very difficult today. The Julian, Joshua, great drivers. So today to win this race is very difficult for me. And thank you, Julian and Joshua, for a fun race.
Certainly a fun race to watch from our perspective, and from the very beginning, you were there in the fight for the lead. You took it past Julian in that first pit cycle, and from there, it seemed like smoother sailing for you than anyone else. So what was it like that got you to that point? We saw the early 3x3 battling, shall we say, with you, Tucker, and Julian, and all of which very quick to separate yourselves, but you got that difference early, and the distance was clear. So what did it take to really make that move and get yourself out there?
So when I didn't I didn't pass the Julian in the beginning of the race. I saved the field, and I think about some strategy, and I don't know which strategy to use. Use the red tires in the next pit stop, or black tires. I use the red, so I didn't pass the Julian again in the second stint, so I passed in the final of the stint, and my red tires is gone in the final stint, and I use the black for my lucky. The Joshua used the black too, so the quality, the time is so I can push more, and the same time in the Joshua, and I think he saved my race in the final.
Getting the jump out ahead there of Tucker and company keeps you once again the points lead further extended, a checkered flag in hand, and now we got 3 weeks until we prepare for, I'd say, the biggest event of this campaign, Indianapolis, for 500 kilometers, and it's going to be a 3-wide start to get things going. You've been on a tear from, of course, Phoenix onward, and you're the odds-on favorite to keep on going with that. You think there's a chance to keep the momentum alive?
I don't know, because the Indianapolis, I think you don't know when have an accident, have a lot of things in Indianapolis. I think I don't know when I expect the Indianapolis. I saved the race. I think I hope save my race and I finish the race. Is that good for me?
Well, of course, a finish is always great in Indianapolis, but the way you've been running, there's always a chance for something more. Bruno Miranda, you're a winner tonight in Road America. Anyone else you'd like to shout out?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, guys, to see the race today. Thank you for broadcast. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Joshua. Congratulations to podium, and thank you for my team, bro, Export, and my team owner, Gregorio Dosso.
We have it. Bruno Miranda, once again, with a checkered flag in hand, we thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, David.
Congrats, man. Congrats. Very
Bruno
gracious.
Miranda on the way there. He has been on quite the tear. And next up, it's Indy. There's nothing quite like it, and we're going next to a track that I think we've all been waiting for. How about Indianapolis when we return in 3 weeks' time? What's it going to take for these drivers to put the power down, get back to work, and it's going to be perhaps the biggest show we've put on all year?
Traditionally, Velocity Online Racing has a pretty good fixed setup that they give the users and the drivers for Indianapolis. There have been races in the past, not too distant past, where it was a pack race there, and it was very, very entertaining. If they go back to something that's not as driver friendly and make the more skilled drivers have to work for it, it's track positions, everything. Starting at the front, the aero wash is going to be brutal at Indianapolis, and also it depends on conditions. Indianapolis tends to taketh away more than it giveth to you, as you've heard from Josh and you also heard from Bruno, who both have bad luck at the facility. Julian seems to have pretty decent luck there, but if we're going to see other drivers making a return, maybe we see Forsyth come back. He does very well there. I know Jesper does very good there. There's other drivers in the lineup that have pretty good luck there. Those are the ones that they've circled, and that's the ones that they're looking for. But it really depends. If it's going to be a pack race, that could be the setup and conditions. If they make it challenging, then track position is everything, and starting up front is key. And 3 wide starts. That's the other thing that we've heard talked about. Of course, by nature, the sim is 2 wide starts. They're going to run an extra lap to get everybody up into the 3 wide starts, and then throw the green actually on the beginning of lap 2. Even the real drivers that come to Indianapolis, and we're talking seasoned Indy champions, IndyCar champions, even Formula One drivers, even NASCAR drivers, said they've never been more hyped up, more afraid of a start than the rolling 3 wide start in Indianapolis, because it looks like you're funneling down into a tiny, tiny hole that not everyone can go through. And then all of a sudden, you're just barreling into it. So no restart or start is any more nerve-wracking than 3 wide at Indianapolis. So, hey, you get to see that next 3 weeks. And that will be the head challenge, just getting past the start.
Of course, when it comes down to racing, get to the finish, you gotta get it going from the start. And with Indianapolis, that has to be, of course, always emphasized. I'll tell you this much, though, we got 3 weeks off from this point in Road America, so it's gonna be, of course, great to return with the IR-18 series, and we keep the action going here with the Velocity Online Racing League, and we can't wait to head back to Indy here on FTN. I've been David Croit, alongside Gary Godso, commentating through 38 laps in this feature, and Bruno Miranda once again comes around with the checkered flag. We'd like to thank all of our viewers tonight for supporting this event, and if you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. It's always greatly appreciated, your support here on FTN. We'll be back later tonight with a Saturday Night Thunder Grand National Series as they head to Pensacola, Florida for a race at Five Flag Speedway. We'd love to have you there once again, and we're set to return later tonight. Thank you all for watching once more. This has been the Road America Grand Prix, and we'll see you when we're live again on FTN.
Hey.